The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Young Engineers of Today, and welcome back to Fly to Learn. As you might have guessed, that's what we're going to do today. So, we're going to do Fly to Learn a little bit differently than we've done in past years. And that is generally in the past we've said, hey, so, here are the lessons on your own time. Go ahead and run through the experiments and stuff like that. But things are going to be a little bit different this year, like I said just a few seconds ago. This year, instead, we're going to have you guys run through the lessons during the class. That way, if you have any questions about anything, how we're doing anything, I'm here. That way, also, well, generally in the past, if we said do it on your own time, you guys have a lot of things going on in your life, and it doesn't really hold true to the whole no homework thing that we try and promise. So you run into a situation where a lot of people weren't actually doing the stuff outside of the class, and so there wasn't really anything to be gained from it. So that's what we're going to do is we're gonna go ahead and run through the flights during the class, which means that things might go a little bit slower because I'll sort of walk you guys through how to do something, and then you guys will do it at your own pace. But on the flip side, it also means that if you're running through everything and you like flying the planes, if you get through everything pretty quickly, well, then you're going to have plenty of free time to fly a plane while we wait for everybody else to catch up. So, pros and cons. Anyway, I believe you guys left off with the introduction to lesson 2. That is the actual, the introduction to the lesson itself, how to do all the different stuff in it. So we're going to get that started up so that you guys can check it out. Run demo. Let's see here. Wait for it to do its thing. Yeah, we're not going to be flying a Blackbird, unfortunately. We are going to be flying a Cessna during the daytime and clear. I'm going to fly at a, let's see here, where was it? I've already forgotten what the airport was. KSCA. KSEA. Seattle Tacoma International. So we'll fly with these options. And I'm going to go ahead and, oh yeah. Thank you. I'm going to let this thing load. Slowly but surely. Good old taco. Seattle taco. Ma. As far as airports go, it's pretty neato. Oh, that's a shame. Oh well. This does like to take its sweet time the first time it's loading up a new location. So we'll let it figure its life out. Slowly but surely. I mean, I know my computer's due for a reboot, but this is also kind of insane. Yeah, no worries. You got plenty of time. I see. A series of semicolons. The Cessna that we flew on last Wednesday, the Cessna 172 SP, I think. Caveman. Yeah, well, that's what you get. Why is it loading? Why is it loading aircraft that we are most definitely not flying? All right, pause. Pause. Yes, I realize it's operating in demo mode. Thank you. Now can you pause? There we go. Okay, so if you move your cursor to the top of the screen, you'll notice a little menu bar pops down in which you can change various things about your flight status. So we've got data input and output, net connections, joystick and equipment, rendering options and sound and stuff like that under settings. Under environment, we can check the weather and the date and time and change them. Under location, we can select an airport. We can check out the map. We can get ourselves lost. Under aircraft, we can check and change various information about the aircraft itself, including simulating aircraft failures and stuff. I have no idea, to be perfectly honest, how you adjust the props on an Osprey. Um, but if you haven't done the tests yet, you should start with the tests. Um, we can do more quick flight setup, get information about X-plane, change the view, change a bunch of different stuff. What we're interested in, though, is if we go down to our experiments here, we're going to check some data information here. We're going to figure out the speed. Plane spawned in an ocean. That's not ideal. Try under quick flight setup, just doing the just resetting up the quick flight. Excuse me, malware bytes. Yes, I know you need to be updated. All right, so under settings, to start with, assuming that you're on solid land and things like that, you're going to go to data input and output, and you're going to get this massive list of checkboxes, just a totally bonkers exercise in what not to do as far as UI is concerned. Granted, there's a lot of information to dump out, so I totally get the fact that, maybe they just wanted to make it all available, but, this is somebody who's been working with this kind of stuff recently. I feel like there was probably a better way to do this. Whatever, that's neither here nor there. We've got a whole bunch of options here. We're looking for some specifically. We're going to click the last two checkboxes at speeds, which is in line 3. So if we go to line 3 here, we got speeds. We're going to click the last two checkboxes. Graphing, spreadsheets. Okay, so each of these checkboxes represent something different. So if we click the first checkbox, it will be sent to an IP address that we set up on the net connection screen. All right. The if you set up a quick flight, it should take you back to the airport. So if you just go to the, oh really? What airport are you starting at? Um, try doing Seattle Tacoma, which is um, KSEA. So Kilo Sierra Echo Alpha, if we're going to use the NATO phonetic alphabet. Hopefully that should place you on a flat surface. Let me just double check that. So we're gonna get out of here. Quick flight setup. If we change this to let me just see if I can't repeat it. Yeah. Okay, let's pick up the pace moving through these a little bit. There we go. I am not seeing that airport. Yeah, try just Seattle Tacoma and see if that doesn't at least get you on the ground. Cool. Ooh. All right, so back up to the settings and data input and output. So the first checkbox will send it to an IP address. The second checkbox will send it to a file on the disk in a simple text format. The third checkbox will go to the graphics display, so you'll see it on screen. Oh, excuse me. Actually, no, it'll be graphed. Under data C, you'll see it be graphed. And the fourth checkbox will place it on the cockpit screen. Oh, nice. Awesome. So we'll be able to see in real time the speeds, and we'll also be able to see the graphing of the speeds over time. So we're going to do the last two checkboxes for speeds. We're going to do the last two checkboxes for location, velocity, distance traveled. So boom, location, velocity, and distance traveled. That's what yeah, it takes a long time to load. Loc, vel, dist, short for location, velocity, and distance. And it'll say not responding a lot of times while it's still loading. We're going to click the last two checkboxes at landing gear vert force, which is line 66. So we're going to have three sets of two checkboxes checked. We've got speeds, location, velocity, and distance traveled, and landing gear vertical force, or line 3, 21, and 66. What these are going to do is they're going to give us the real-time location, or the real-time speed of the plane, the real-time velocity of the plane. All right, well, yeah, that's something that I think it's being randomized or something like that. But if you feel all right flying, you can still give it a try. Interesting. That that's odd. Maybe it was just loading in the. Oh, you turned it today. Okay, gotcha. I thought it just did it of its own accord, like, all right, a little weird, but okay. That's true. Yeah, you can just set the weather and the time. I've totally forgot about that even. How do you set keys? That's going to be under settings and yeah, joysticks, or excuse me, joystick and equipment. Settings, joystick and equipment, and then you've got keys, and you've got this mess of a screen for joystick buttons, which, like I said, really could be improved upon, but hey, whatever. But yeah, keys here. You'll be able to set all the different keyboard keys and stuff like that. All right, so now that I've got those three things enabled, speed, distance, location, velocity, and landing gear force, I've got them displayed right here on the side of the screen. Now I'm going to set up a payload. So under the aircraft menu, we've got weight and fuel. We've got center of gravity, which is going to be how many inches it is from where it is generally. We've got empty weights, so we can change the weight of the plane. We can't actually, because that's how much a Cessna weighs, so it's not going to be set. However, we got payload weight, which is something that we can affect. Right now, it defaults to 243 pounds. We can, increase and decrease as we need. However, you will run into a point where it's going to be too much weight, so we're going to keep it at 273 to start. Boom, like so, because that's the default, or 243, excuse me. Oh no, we're going to move it up to 296. So there. So payload weight is going to be 296 pounds. Should be 243. Please change this value to 296. So now that our payload weight is 296, we're going to click X to return to the plane, and then just do a regular old takeoff. Disable the brake, look down, put in the throttle, and just let the plane take off. And we're going to see up here in the corner the velocity changing, the amount of distance that we travel changing, the force on the landing gear. Eventually, we're going to see that the force on the landing gear just kind of go away once we're going fast enough and we start taking off. Of course, man, I was having trouble with this yesterday right at the end of the class. It does not want to cooperate with me a lot anymore for some reason. But, after some minor difficulty, the plane takes off, and we see that there is now no force being exerted on any of the landing gear. Oh, gosh. Yep, that was my own fault. Trying to point at things with the cursor while I've got cursor control on. Keep it pointed up. So you can see we've got miles per hour here. We're looking at our airport. Keep ourselves pointed more or less up, so we're continuing to gain altitude. Try and correct. All right. Apparently we did not have enough forward momentum to not stall out. There we go. And now we can check our velocity as well. Velocity is going to be divided up into X, Y, and Z, because velocity is nothing but a speed plus, X-plane, a speed plus a direction. That's all velocity is. A lot of times people kind of use velocity interchangeably with just a fancy term for speed. It's not 100% correct, because you can be going 100 miles an hour, but you can be going 100 miles an hour east. You can be going 100 miles an hour west. You can be going 100 miles an hour north. You can be going 100 miles an hour straight up into the air. A velocity takes into account the fact that you're going 100 miles an hour and which direction you're going in. So that's the distinct difference between it and speed. Speed is just how fast you're going. Velocity is how fast you're going and what direction you're going that fast in. So there can be components to it as well, which is why you've got the X, Y, and the Z. You can be going, whoops, that happens. You can be going 100 miles an hour in the east, but also 100 miles an hour in the north. So you're kind of going like northwest at a given speed. X-plane is lagging. Yeah, it's probably not playing very nice with this the presentation right now and stuff like that too, like with my screencast and everything going on. Um, so yeah, that can happen. I am just doing some daredevil flying right now. But anyway, so the whole point of this exercise is to pause. Just see how long you go along the ground. Blame it on the lag. Yeah. Um, how long you go along the ground before you finally take off. Um, how fast you're going when you take off. So the V true airspeed. Do it 3 times for each load. You're going to do one load at 296 pounds, one load at 600, and one at 900. So when you've taken off 3 times, go ahead and go back up into the aircraft, change the payload weight, and then um, just go back into the quick flight setup and say fly with these options. Understood. Why? Okay, I see what you mean. So Princess Julie. Okay, so if it's any, I get it now. If it's any location that does not exist in the demo, it dumps you over to the middle of the ocean. So X-plane tries to kill you if you're not flying one of their demo airports. All right, so go ahead and just run those. It's going to be 9 tests overall, so 3 at each weight. And then when you're done with that, it's going to take a while. But when you're done with that, go ahead and raise your hand. I have to step away from the computer for just a couple of minutes. If you get done a little bit early, then go ahead and fly while everybody else is completing their tests. Yeah, if you don't obey, we drop you over the ocean. Otherwise, just go ahead and get them done and raise your hand. So I will return shortly. Yeah, just real quick before I step out. The data. The data is going to be found. Oh, man, I really wish I didn't have to reload this thing. If you go up to the top menu bar, there's going to be settings, and then I believe it's called, well, actually, let me just alt tab over. Data input and output. And you're going to click the last 2 checkboxes next to line 3, which is speeds, then line 21, which is location, velocity, and distance traveled, and line 66, which is going to be landing gear, vertical force. I'm actually going to keep it on the screen so that you can check out the instructions at any point. And yep, be right back. It'll crash your laptop. Oh, that sucks. Um, well, I guess just take a note of it while we do the lesson, and then just do it later on your own time. I don't have anything more interesting right now. Landed without crashing. Awesome. Nice profile pic. What do you mean? Oh, right up in the corner. Yep. The instruments themselves don't tell the data. You've got to turn it on in X-Plane. So if you go, I'll unpause the screen again. You got to go to Settings and then Data Input and Output, and then enable these three lines, so 3, 21, and 66, the last two checkboxes, and then they will show up in this corner up here. So when you're flying, you want to check most of them out. Basically, the the V true is going to be V true airspeed is going to be the basically the um, this second to last one right here, I believe. Yeah, miles per hour airspeed. So vtrue with the MPHAS, that's going to give you your true airspeed. The PC is something I built myself. Yeah, it's just using mostly 2 to 3 year old. No, actually, about 5 years old at this point. Most of the equipment on it is about 5 years old, but it's still chugging along pretty nicely. Just a couple of upgrades here and there. New hard drive, new graphics card. Nothing crazy. Yeah. Nice. Stop global warming. Yeah. Do you think a gaming laptop will work? Well, that depends on what you are looking to have it work for. Um, I know I have a friend who's got one just because he tends to move around a lot, and he does like graphics editing and 3D modeling and stuff like that. Oh, X-Plane? Yeah, I think that it should be strong enough for that, definitely. What do you not understand, Calder? Right. What do you not understand about it? Okay. So you do you have the display up here in the upper left-hand side, like I do on your X-Plane? Okay. So you got vend, vend, vtrue, vtrue, so on and so forth. Then you've got the X, Y, and Z one, and then you got the ones labeled gear, right? Nice, Caveman. Um, okay, so let's check out the first one first. So you see how it's got vend and then vtrue in like a set of four, and then you got another set of three that are vend and vtrue. What we're interested in is there's that cluster of three velocities, and we want the v true, which is the middle one, because you've got v true, and then for mine at least it says 0.000, and then mphas. mphas is short for miles per hour airspeed, and what we want to know is we want to know the v true airspeed, right? So yeah. Then we also want to know how far it traveled, so distance in feet. We want to take note of that. Basically, pause the game as soon as the plane starts to take off, um, and see how far you've traveled in feet, because that'll give you an indication of basically how long it took for you to take off in the plane. So if I were to run this, yeah, we've pushed in the throttle. Now the plane is going to start going as fast as it can. And once it hits about 60-ish knots, it'll be going fast enough to take off, at least for the lower end of the weights. The higher end, it'll probably need to start going faster. So, whoop, and then we can take off, and I pause it immediately. Went about 1,300 feet at about 76 miles per hour airspeed. But then again, I didn't really attempt to try and take off sooner than that. So it could be that we could actually take off at a slower speed sooner. And basically, you're just going to do that essentially. Do each one 3 times, see how fast you need to be going in order to take off, and how far you need to travel in order to take off with those little bits of data readout. And then when you're done, do an aileron roll. Oh, oh this is, ooh, I think I can do it. Yeah, yeah. Cool. That was closer to a barrel roll than it was an aileron roll. Oh dear. Nope. Did not do it right. Last words, I'm going to do a 360. Why though? Why not? It's a digital plane. So we kind of start to, yeah, but we're still not going fast enough to be able to take off, so that isn't really valid. Nope. Yep. Oh man. Really helps if you have the throttle pushed all the way in. Very, very useful. Well, this is going to end predictably. Let's get a little bit more height. All right, do a little bit of correction. See if we can coast to a safe landing with the engines off. You don't. It is just a function of the fact that you are running a propeller plane where there is a torque that's exerted on it. You just have to turn to the right in order to compensate for it. Engine off. Boop. All right. Now we're losing speed or excuse me, altitude pretty prodigiously. However, we are starting to go pretty dang fast, so maybe we can moderate it. Ah, let's turn the speed. Okay, so the engine is still running, but I did cut the throttle, so I don't know. Oh, I crashed. When you're doing a spin and X-Plane hits you with that demo time expired. Yeah, thanks, X-Plane. Yeah, I was going 150 miles an hour. Maybe that was a little bit fast. Good Lord. Cooperate with me, plane. Flying with a mouse is not ideal. All right, now we're taking off. Cool. Doing a sweet spin. Well, that's kind of what we did last time. All right, let me actually just. All right, now the engines have no fuel going into them. That's a house. That's a house. Hello, goodbye, house. Well, other than the whole, like, going through a house thing, I think this went about as well as could be expected, considering. And we parked in somebody's yard. Yeah, exactly. Mostly. There's just the little matter of, going directly through a house. Okay, so now I need to turn the fuel pump on and turn to ignition. Yeah, exactly. You got it, Calder. The more weight you add to the plane, the more it's going to require during takeoff. Like the more distance you're going to need, and the more speed you're going to need in order to be able to take off. Come on, cooperate with me. There we go. Got the engine on. Turn off the brakes, and we'll just take right off from here. Where does it say how far you are? So distance. The second set of data, you've got two of them. You've got NM and FT. FT is for feet, and NM is for nautical miles. Hey, look, downtown Seattle. Let's go fly through it. What is that road doing down there? What is this road doing? Whoa, cars are teleporting on it. What kind of road is this? Well, whatever. We can't really look at that while we're flying. Downtown Seattle. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why would you do that? Okay, there we go. Looking up more. I really have a lack of faith in the public works that exist in Seattle. If this is in any way a representation, there's a street that just goes straight into a building. Why is there this triangle-shaped overpass? How do they drive along that? All right, let's just, kind of scrape that building. Oh man, this is going to be. All right. Oh, look, there's the needle. I'll do my best. Is this train tracks or like a light rail or something? That looks like a light rail. Hello, Space Needle. Let's do a nice tight. All right, that was going a little rough on the old engine there. This plane is very maneuverable. Oh yeah, because these give you the different like. Oh yeah, still can't control the plane while I'm doing this. There we go. There we go. Now I can see exactly how close you come to catastrophe. Hey, not too bad if I say so myself. Fly over a 7-Eleven. That was very clearly a 7-Eleven. That's a tree. That's okay. I think that's as good enough to end on as any. We'll go ahead and call it a class here. Hopefully, you guys at least got some of your testing done. Hopefully. Um, Hopefully, you guys had the opportunity to understand why exactly this was happening, and then you'll move on to lesson 3 on Monday. And we'll probably do some more with lesson 3 and then lesson 4. And why did I jump off the plane? Oh. Um, so yeah, we'll go ahead and do the poll questions, and then we'll leave it open for question and answer time over any of the experiments or anything like that today. And then if you don't have any questions on that, you're more than welcome to head out and have a wonderful weekend. And we will see you on Monday. I will see you on Wednesday. And yeah. So here we go. First poll question incoming.